Welcome in. Welcome in. It is Saturday night, which means it's time for ADP Showcase Showdown, and that begins right after this. I love it. Thanks so much for joining us on the Triple Play Fantasy Network. I am Jeff Mesha, and as always, I am joined by Mike and Joe. Boys, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just enjoying another evening. It's Saturday night. I'm with my homies down here. We're getting ready to talk a little football. I have a feeling I'm about ready to destroy Joe in this debate. Just because, man, the facts that I've got on this guy's side, it's over. It's over before it starts. I'm just kidding, Joe.
Hey, no, I love it. And I'll tell you what, man, it's been real nice. Not that I'm not going to sit here and say I can watch 4 quarters of a preseason game, but I'll tell you something. It's nice to be doing this analysis, but then being able to watch a little football last night and, put some names to the analysis and really you feel like you're actually grabbing something and seeing it. And it's not just hearsay, speculation, and people like us talking too much. It's here, right? We're watching these guys now in the preseason, and we're starting to get a feel for what's really going to start to go on in September.
I love it. And I'll tell you, we are right around the corner from the start of the NFL season, which means that the drafts are coming, my friend. On this program, we debate the pros and cons of 2 players of similar draft values. And tonight, it's DJ Moore versus DeAndre Hopkins. We'll start with Mike having 2 minutes to make the argument for Moore, and then Joe will have 1 minute for a rebuttal. Then we'll switch to Joe to make his point for Hopkins, and Mike will have his minute for rebuttal on that. So we'll go ahead and kick it off whenever you're ready, Michael. Get it going on DJ Moore.
Excellent. So DJ Moore, he's since he started, he's 6'0". He's 210 pounds. He can catch 80% of his contested catch rating. That's insane. This guy can catch balls that are right next to he's just really good. And another factor that he brings to the table is he's missed one game since his rookie season. He didn't start into his 6th game that rookie year, but since then he's missed 1 game of football. That is amazing. That is longevity like you can't even believe. And if you got that guy on your team, you can put him in your wide receiver 1 slot, maybe wide receiver 2 slot would be a little bit more comfortable for him, but you can put him in that spot right there and lock him in and forget about him for most of the weeks until bye week. And, DJ Morris might be good enough this year that you might want to play him on bye week, even just out of respect. He's going to have a solid year. The problem has never really been DJ Moore. This year, he actually has an offense that can get him the ball. He should easily see 150 plus targets with the closest opposition on that team being Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. When you're looking at that, faced with that kind of competition, the volume should be there. And so the volume going with Moore, in the past, when we start seeing him get 150 plus catches a year, he always turns that into over 1,000 yards. Now, this guy's touchdown rating is so low. It's insane. So, he's on such a touchdown regression. This guy has got the red zone targets. He's got the red zone catches. He just isn't able to put that biscuit in the basket year after year. So, on a team where you don't have a lot of other options and you've got a mobile quarterback like Fields that could maybe possibly break away and give him a little bit more time to separate. And with that kind of a contested catch rating, look out. It should actually be a pretty good thing. So if you're into Fields, just think those guys' quarterbacks has been a faded Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. He's 26 years old, and in his first few years of the contention, he also had C-Mac to contend with. That's just not even fair.
All right, hold on. Let me fade Mikey off. That was fire. Joe, I don't even know what you're going to do from that one, my friend. I'd love to hear the rebuttal, but good Lord, Mike came with the fire tonight. Go ahead, Joe. What do you got?
Oh, well, this is pretty simple for me. I mean, we're talking about, so if you're looking at Fantasy Pros, we're talking about Hopkins ADP of 19 and DJ Moore at 23. So if DJ Moore is at 23, he's probably slotting in at your second wideout, maybe, or your first wideout. And here's a question, Mayor, Madoff, Mesha, 2 tickets to fantasy, all the other nicknames that you have that I'll ask you. Do you want your number one wideout to have had 8 games, half of his season last year, where he clocked in at 3 receptions or less? We are in a PPR, correct? I can't have that from my number one wideout. So there's a lot of inconsistency with DJ Moore. And as long as DeAndre Hopkins is on the field, he is the absolute definition of consistency. There will not be any 3 reception performances for DeAndre Hopkins, but half of your season of DJ Moore will be getting you 2 points or less from a PPR perspective.
I can't say that was terrible, Joseph. I am a little bit biased. I got a short list of guys who are like my guys. DJ Moore is on that short list, so I'm going to be biased, Joe. But that's a halfway decent rebuttal. I would love to hear. You started a little bit with the Hopkins talk and what you got to make points on him. So let's go ahead and get into what do you got for DeAndre Hopkins, bro?
I will, and I feel so good about this. I'm going to use some DeAndre Hopkins time, and I'm going to disagree with Mike. I think, when you talk about competition within your own team for receptions, there's way more competition for Moore in Chicago with Mooney, with Claypool, with Kmet, with Herbert out of the backfield than there is for Hopkins in Tennessee. The depth chart in Tennessee behind DeAndre Hopkins is Trey Burks, Kyle Phillips, Jeff Mesha, and Dirty Job 21. So I'm feeling pretty good. And Hopkins obviously missed the first 6 games last year, but he went on for 717 yards, 3 touchdowns on an abysmal offense, whether it was Kyler Murray playing quarterback, who he has only regressed since he came into the league, or whoever the fuck their backup was when it wasn't Murray, and I can't even remember that at this point. He had nobody throwing to him. Now, Ryan Tannehill certainly isn't our favorite quarterback from a fantasy perspective, but he is better than what Hopkins had last year. And, and Derrick Henry's got to be another guy that's salivating at DeAndre Hopkins coming in, because now you've got a real threat on the outside to open things up for him also. So I think DeAndre Hopkins, I think his presence is going to be felt both on and off the stat sheet. But as long as he stays healthy with those hands, I'm loving. He was 11.2 yards per catch last year. He's going to be double digits again this year. And if he plays 16, 17 games, you're talking 100. We're talking 100 receptions on this team. So in a PPR perspective, just from the receptions alone, it's going to shield you from real bombs or horrible games. Now, and do I want would I prefer the DeAndre Hopkins of 2017 versus 2023? Absolutely. But when you're really lining him up against DJ Moore here, if you tell me that my wide receiver 1 going into the season has to be Moore or Hopkins, and I like Moore and I like Moore's upside, I'm taking Hopkins on that one.
I'll tell you, I will say those are solid stats, Joseph. I mean, it's been a couple of years since Hopkins has put in an entire season. He's played 9 games and 10 games in the last 2 seasons, respectively. So, yeah, keep flexing there, kid. Well done. And I appreciate you throwing me in there. And I am wearing my Charlie Tweeter jersey, so I think I was on the field for some of the Ryan Tannehill throws last year. But in any case, but I will say, Hopkins, like I said, he didn't play too many games, but in a couple of years ago, he only played 10 games, had 8 touchdowns, 500-something yards. The guy is a touchdown machine. But DJ Moore is kind of what was that?
I said you're taking all my points here, bud.
I apologize. But DJ Moore is just the constant man out there, and I'll let Mike finish that off with the rebuttal. Sorry about that, brother.
Yeah, no worries, man. I was just giving you a hard time just because that is one thing. He said if he plays a full season, something he hasn't done for 2 years. I mean, that was actually my leadoff argument right there. He hasn't seen 100 targets in the past 2 years. And with Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore as your competition with Kyler Murray as your quarterback, he goes now to Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, where he has built quite a rapport with Treylon Burks, and he's also built quite a rapport with Christian Okonkwo. Those are two guys that he was throwing to comfortably in the red zone towards the end of the season last year. But I mean, it's still Ryan Tannehill on a run-first offense. This offense is always go to Henry, go to Henry, go to Henry. So, I mean, I don't think that this is going to be – I think this is going to be another season where we see D-Hop not get 100 targets. I just don't think that the offense is built for that kind of volume. And again, I mean, to me, it's a very stagnant offense. And it's an opposite TG trajectory of Moore. D-Hop was relevant the past 2 seasons because he scored 11 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns respectively in those past 2 seasons. But when you look at his yardage, that yardage just was not there. And that's where he's missing out.
And hey, Mikey, well said. I didn't mean to steal your points on that one, my man, but I'll let Joe follow up there. Sound like he had something to add after that. Go ahead, Joe.
He had 96 targets last year, so we can hang our hats on that technicality of the coming 4 short of 100. 2021 is the only season other than his rookie year where he didn't hit 100 targets. And real quick, when he's healthy and playing 16 or even 15 games, 192, 150, 176, 163, 150, and 160. Now, most people are thinking we're talking about the amount of dates Jeff's been on the past 5 years respectively, but that is actually Hopkins' target count throughout his career. So the guy is a cash cow from a target perspective as long as he's on the field and he's got somebody with some aptitude throwing to him.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a solid rebuttal, Joseph. I'm not going to declare anybody a winner or loser because we're all winners here. And the fans watching can decide who they like better as far as from a draft position. But those are both solid points on these guys. Let me tell you, we're going to be bringing the fire every week. Like I said, we got drafts coming up in a few weeks with everybody. And so just keep tuning in. We'll have these debates. And we'll keep going back and forth. And I love it, boys. Thanks for bringing the fire tonight.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it was fun, man. It's always a good time, especially debating a guy like Joe because he's smart, man. He's a great analyst. I mean, I've always enjoyed going over points with him. He usually changes my mind, but in this one, unfortunately, I'm solid. I'm on the DJ Moore train heavy this year. I think he's going to have a pretty solid season. I think that Justin Fields is going to have to throw to somebody, and I think it's going to probably be DJ.
All right. Well, there you go, Joe. So I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, until next week, we have got you covered and appreciate you watching. Catch you next time, folks.